Sanje Juda Zoge Junamda Janju Badu Dani Yazuje Dage Jin Soge Be Sona Ola Benjir Sanje Lubala Jo Sanje Juda Soge Chon Janju Badu Dani Yazuje Dage Jin Soge Be Sona Ola Benjir Sanje Lubala Jo Sanje Juda Soge Chon Keba Sonamge, Dola Benjere Sanje, Lubare Sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations, practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. The next page. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashramanaye Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashramanaye Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetum Tesham Dathagato Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashramanaye Svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well as taught by grace here. Okay. We are talking about the four seals, and the first seal, all composite things impermanent. And in this connection, we're talking about what is composite, what is impermanent. And in impermanence, we said there are two kinds, gross and subtle. So before that, I just quickly relate this to our real life. Milarepa. How many of you have read the biography of the great enlightened, the being, Milarepa Resents? How many have read this biography? Okay, so now all these biographies are easily available in English. I would highly recommend you to read this biography. And initially, you may be drawn towards the first part of the biography more, for the reason that it's about the very dramatic life of Milarepa, and how he was born in a very rich family, and then when he was just 7 years old, his father left the world and handed over everything, his wife, the 2 children, and the whole wealth of the family in the hands of the brother and the sister of the late father. And then how went through all these difficulties, and then finally his mother, they going through such hardship of her life, and then she sent Milarepa as Tibet to learn black magic. He learned that, and then then he destroyed the uncle who actually destroyed his family, uncle, the aunt, and then finally he regretted so much. He went into Dharma. He, finally met with his teacher, Milarepa, and then his journey of the spirituality became so pure. And finally, when Geshe Marpa finally accepted to give teachings to him, after all these many years of toil, of hardships imposed on him for his purification. And yet Milarepa, he never lost his faith in the Guru. And finally the Guru accepted to give teachings and then give instructions. It was very interesting. Say all these, like several years, Milarepa was exposed to a tremendous hardship, labor work, to build the houses and so forth. This young man just is receiving Dharma. He was going through all these things. And then one day, his teacher, Geshe Marpa's children, sons, they were also very young. And then they saw that Milarepa was bringing the stones, and the stones to build a house. Stones from far away on his back. So these small children, the children of Geshe Marpa, his own teacher, they were helping him, particularly with a big, huge rock to be used as a foundation. And Geshe Marpa saw that, and then Geshe Marpa just let him stack the stones. And after coming somewhere to a great height, then Geshe Marpa, the teacher, said, "I'll come for inspection." He came, and then he looked out and said, "Well done." And looked down at the cornerstone, big one, looked at it. "How come that you are able to bring this here?" And he said that, "Your children helped me. I asked you to build, I did not ask my children to build. So you have to get rid of this. Take it back from where it came." He had to dismantle all the walls. And then the huge boulder, he had to take it out, took it back. And yet his faith never shook. So the point is that and then later on, then they say, after all these, you must read the biography. And after this, then finally, so whatever he did to receive teachings, somehow the teacher was not ready, prepared to give teachings. And he would give teachings to many students, but never to Geshe Milarepa. And then, yes, of course, it has many parts of the story. Then finally, one day, Geshe Marpa, the teacher, said that, put a special seat here, a seat higher than his best of the students. And everyone was seated, and the one seat was empty. And everyone was so confused. So usually next to Geshe Marpa was his senior students, and they were all seated. Now who is going to occupy this seat? All were confused. And then Geshe Marpa, they called the wife to call Milarepa. And then Geshe Milarepa came, and Geshe Marpa said, "You sit on this seat." And he was so confused. He could not believe his eyes. So he just prayed that if I'm dreaming, please let me not wake up from this dream. It's such a pleasant dream that my Guru finally accepted to give teachings to me. And then the Guru put his hand on the head and blessed him and said that all these years that I subjected you to these hardships is not for any other purpose, for your own purification. In fact, I personally had this is what he said, that I personally had a dream of my own teacher, Geshe Naropa. Before you came, the very night before you came, I had a dream of my teacher who handed over me a stupa, a dirty stupa, and then gave me an instruction, clean this up. Once it is clean, then put it on the top of the mountain and it will glow. So Geshe Marpa, following his teacher's instruction, he cleansed the stupa so well, and the stupa started to glow. It glowed, and then he put it on the mountain top, and the whole area space around they were all glowed by the stupa. So this is all the indications I had before you reach me. So it's the process of cleansing of you that this hardship was brought to you, and given that even Dhamma, just Marpa's own wife, was extremely kind, like a mother, to just Milarepa, because that she is so kind to you, cleansing did not happen completely. So, otherwise the purification should have happened so fast, and that your enlightenment should have been much faster. Because of the incredible compassion from the Dhamma to you, that you got several privileges here and there, benefits here and there, food, ointment, and so forth, that the purification did not happen complete. So you have to go through a little bit of the more practice to go through this purification. And then after all these things, then just Milarepa gives the instruction what to practice in isolation, solitary retreat. And then in a solitary retreat, there are so many paths to this. One of which was that just Milarepa, when he was sitting for a solitary retreat, then say like a semi-dream, he saw his original house in his native place, and the house was dilapidated, torn down, leaking, and inside the house he could see a skull there, and the textbook like this, the traditional Tibetan, the book there, the scripture there, and then he went to his guru to seek permission to go to his native place, and this is what the dream. Then while Milarepa was there, Milarepa was lying down, and then it so happened that from the window from the other side there was the sunshine there, and then Milarepa said, "You came when I was sleeping. This is not a good omen," which means that once you leave, you will not meet again. But when you're coming, although I was sleeping, but there was sun rays falling in the house. There's a very good indication that you, after living there with your more intense practice, there's going to be like a sunshine of the Dharma through you to the world. So these prophecies were being made, and then Milarepa finally he went there to his the native place, a little far away from his teacher's place, and from distance he could see his house. See his house, and of course the house was in such a bad shape, and there was a little young boy, a shepherd boy, and asked Milarepa. Of course, Milarepa in the yogi's dress, not as a ordinary lay person, but as a yogi's dress, very simple, shabbily dressed, and then asked, "Who lives there?" And the young boy said that, "Oh, this is just a house which was once owned by the one person by the name the Tubaga, and then the mother died, and he also left the place, and his sister nowhere to be seen, and now nobody is a haunted place now. And if you as a yogi, if you go there, you will find the holy scripture there. What scripture, what book is there, and you can keep it. Nobody dares to go there." So Milarepa went there, and he saw the house just broken down, in such a bad shape. And then what he said, impermanence. What he said, that when the house was there, the owner of the house, referring to him, he was not here. When he came to the house is no more there. Even if the two things come together in a good shape, there's no meaning. It's just meaningless. So better it is for this yogi to live for Dhamma practice. Then he said, he picked up the skull of the mother. The skull of the mother. Mother passed away and nobody was there to take care of it. Everybody fearing. You have to read the biography. And then he picked up the skull of the mother and he said, when my mother was here, I was away. When I came, my mother was gone. Even if the mother and the son were to meet, there's nothing to be done. There's nothing meaningful. So better it is for me to live for Dhamma practice. Then he said, this sister, Pedagogy, his sister's name is Pedagogy. When Pedagogy was here, her brother is no more here. When his brother came, the sister was no more there. Even if the brother and sister were to be together, there's nothing meaningful to happen. So better it is for me to live for the Dhamma practice. And then said that when this precious Dhamma book was there intact, the owner of the book was away. When the owner of the book came, owner of this Dhamma book came, Dhamma book is already in bad shape. Even if the two were to meet together, there's no meaning there. Better it is for me to leave this place for Dhamma practice. So this is all impermanence, teaching on impermanence. So these are the things that we need to remember when we recite all composite things impermanent. Okay. And in our life, say for me, the 5 years old, as a young boy, I lost my mother. So my father would sometimes say that, yes, in school, when I was doing the studying well, and after completing my Geshe degree, my father was so proud. And he would oftentimes just ruminate over the existence of our mother. If your mother were to be here today, she'll be very proud. But gone, there's impermanence. So in our life, we are bound to have, have encountered the real life experience of impermanence. When these two things happen, remember this is Milarepa's biography and the teachings that he gave. Not just, okay, he did this, but the teachings the reflections, the teachings that he gave. And one day, even this beautiful, the coming together of all these young faces, one day will be gone. And after, say, like 50 years, 100 years, 150 years, 8 billion human beings today, not even a single person will be left then, all will be gone. And of these, maybe few will be remembered, either for incredibly great service to the humanity, or for being so nasty on this planet Earth. Otherwise, like 99% of the people like us will all be forgotten, even from the memory of the people long forgotten. So this is reality in impermanence. So if you keep this in mind, if we habituate our mind in this line of thinking, then in our life, when we are struck with the severity, the weight of the impermanence, the loss of near and dear ones, you will not be shocked, because then you could see the world from, the broader perspective in space and in time. Okay, this is what we need to remember. And in our life, we go through difficulties. And difficulties also think about impermanence, that there's a way out, and over time, we'll come to sense that even what is happening today, which is very tragic, will also disappear. And then when you go through excitements, successes, and so forth, again, you remember impermanence. Even this will one day disappear. Say, for example, during my childhood, there were, the Hollywood stars, Bollywood stars, and so forth. Now they're all gone. They're old now. So this is the reality. We need to reflect, bring these experiences, the realities that actually happen and happening, will happen, bring them in your meditation and make your mind more matured and stable. So this is the purpose of meditating on all composite things impermanent. Okay. The next part is the impermanence is of two kinds, gross and subtle. The gross impermanence is the visible impermanence. Visible impermanence, meaning that the composite phenomena whose continuum comes to an end. A composite phenomena whose continuum comes to an end. This is known as gross impermanent phenomena, whose continuum comes to an end. For example, 2022. 2022 is whole 1 year. It was whole 1 year. So now it already came to an end. We cannot retrieve 2022 anymore. At the most, we can have the memory of that, not the 2022. It will never come back again. So that's the reality. And our youth, meaning, say you are in your 20s, so your teenage is already gone. It will never come back again. So these are realities. And say our beautiful days together, the last retreat in September. So from there now, how many months? Like 6 months. So those people who raise hands, those who were here for the last retreat with me. Okay. So and others were in some other place. From that time till now, we have grown 6 months older now. And that 6 months younger part of you will never come back again in this life. This is reality. So we think about these. That will be very helpful. So this is the impermanence, where the continuum comes to an end. That is a gross impermanence. And subtle impermanence, which means that, say for example, there are things which are the grossly impermanent, or which have the characteristic of gross impermanence, and there are impermanent phenomena which do not have gross impermanence. For example, like, say, your mind in general, it does not have the gross impermanence, because your mind will never come to an end. Your mind continues, but it is impermanent. It does not have the gross impermanence. It is not gross impermanent. Then yourself, as a person, you as a person, say me as a person, it is not gross impermanent. It is not as gross impermanent, because me as a person will continue, will never come to an end. But me as Dorji, so Dorji is the label given to this human being. So this will one day come to an end. That is a gross impermanent, but me as a person, as a being, it will never terminate, will never come to an end. It just continues endlessly. So those impermanent phenomena, which continues endlessly, they are not gross impermanent, whereas those impermanent phenomena, which do come to an end, the continuum of which comes to an end, that is gross impermanent. Okay, anybody? You can give examples of gross impermanence. Quick. Some examples of gross impermanence. Shirvani?
The ends of a tree. The composite phenomena of a tree. The impermanence of a tree.
Impermanence of a tree, or let's say the tree which 100 years old tree which fell last year. The tree, 100 years old tree which fell last year, which lasted for 100 years, and finally it died last year. So that is gross impermanent. Anyone else? Gross impermanent example? Yes.
Spoken rain.
Okay, this afternoon's rain here into something. It now stopped. So that is the gross impermanent. Very good, thank you. Anyone else?
Pleasure of success.
I say the pleasure of success, yes. The pleasure of success is also because the continuum will stop. Yes. Anyone else?
Momos.
Momos. That's interesting. No. Momos, gross impermanent, yes. The joy of eating momo is also impermanent, yes. Very good, thank you. Any more examples?
This retreat.
This retreat will also come to an end after 5 days. It's also gross impermanent, very good. And those who are new, those who joined the retreat for the first experience, the retreat for the first time, tell me. Any examples? Gross impermanence. So, like for each one of us, we must have somebody in your life who passed away. For in my case, my father, my mother, who left now, who left this world, is the gross impermanent. Okay. So this, of course, these 5 days, once in a while, because that is just very short, I may not spend so much time interacting, but I do interact. When I interact, and it's not that all of you will get the chance to give the answer, but when somebody gives the answer, you make sure that you give your own answer mentally. And then if you agree with the answer that the other person gave, and if you agree, it's fine. If you don't agree, then think why you don't agree, and eventually listen to what I'm sharing with you. And again, you see if you agree with what I am sharing. So here, there's two benefits. Rather than making just unilateral teaching, one-way teaching. If there's interaction happening, if it is interactive, then there are two benefits. The most important benefit is that your intelligence will keep growing. Your intelligence will keep growing. That is so important. Because when you think, then the intelligence grows. When you don't think, your intelligence doesn't grow. It doesn't grow. For example, scientifically speaking, neuroscience would say that, the neuroplasticity, which means that when you think, new synaptic connections are being built. New synaptic connections are being built, and when you don't think, the neurons continue to die. They don't really regenerate. Whereas if you think, neurons may not be created, but the neurons, the connection becomes so well built. New synaptic connections created, so that the easy flow of the transmitters happen, and because of which your thought processes, they become very, effective. Okay, so the one benefit, the more important benefit is that your intelligence grows, number one. Number two is that you get, the information that you get becomes very clear. Otherwise, you think that, yes, I'm understanding something. And when you leave this hall, nothing is left. So once when I was teaching on emptiness in one place, and then I said that ultimately, conventionally everything exists, ultimately nothing exists. And then I give the example of this house. Let's say that everything is in this house. This is the domain of the conventional. Conventionally, everything exists, like everything exists in this house. The moment you go out, this is the ultimate domain. In the ultimate domain, nothing exists. This is what I said. Then during the break time, one girl came rushing to me. I said, Geshe, what you said is very true. I said, why? What do you mean by that? She said that when I was in the classroom, I could sense that I was getting everything what you were saying. The moment I left this house, everything disappeared. Okay. The subtle impermanence. What is subtle impermanence? Subtle impermanence is the momentariness, the quality of the momentariness. The quality of the momentariness. Transitoriness, momentariness. So all impermanent phenomena should necessarily have the element of subtle impermanence. Don't say that I am subtle impermanent. Don't say that. You say that I have the quality of subtle impermanence. All composite phenomena should necessarily have subtle impermanence. You're getting it? Say, for example, I, the person, the person, I said that the person, the mind, time, they are not gross impermanent. Are they impermanent? Yes. Are they subtle impermanent? Don't say they are subtle impermanent. They have the quality of subtle impermanence. For example, don't say that you are hands. You have hands. How many have hands? Raise hands. And how many you have mind? Raise hands. But you're not mind, you're not hands. You have hands, you have mind. Likewise, all composite phenomena has subtle impermanence as its quality. You getting it? They are not subtle impermanent. Then, if at all you want to identify what is subtle impermanence, the illustration of subtle impermanence, you can say the momentariness of the flower. Momentariness of the flower, the transitoriness of the flower, that is subtle impermanence. Flower per se is not subtle impermanence, but the momentariness, the transitoriness of the flower is subtle impermanence. Likewise, momentariness of yourself, momentariness of the mind, momentariness of all composite phenomena, any composite phenomena, can be referred to as subtle. It is subtle impermanence. Are you good? So this is the all-composite things impermanent. When you think about this, it is very important for us to reflect on both the gross impermanence as well as subtle impermanence. It's very important for us to reflect on both. Finally, we start from the beginning. So we start from the scratch. We start from the ground. We are actually shaken by seeing the gross impermanence. So you see that your near and dear ones with the COVID-19. One of my very dear friends, just when the COVID-19 and they started, just within like 2-3 months' time, my very, very, very close friend, he passed away. And it really shook me. And it's really, the power of the impermanence. And so they say we are actually, shaken by these things, the very imminent, the impermanence, the change that we see around. You won't believe you may not believe that this will happen. Actually, it's happened. And just before this class started, this session started, I received a message from one of my distant relatives. They're one of my distant relatives, and earlier we were in the close relationship, and then within a span of like the last 12, 13, 14 years, then they say no, not a relationship. And then recently her husband passed away and he requested for prayers. And then just before this session, I received this message, a little message. It's all about impermanence. So this is something as reality. We think we relate this to our real life. The impermanence, all composite things impermanent. So how we think about it is first we start with the gross impermanence. Gross impermanence, and so what happened? The people who are so close to you, who left the world, think about these. And for example, say the beautiful sunset, within a few minutes it disappears. And the beautiful spring is followed by the summer, followed by the autumn, followed by winter, and the youth, followed by old age, accumulation, followed by exhaustion, and gathering, followed by the separation. And the Buddha said, all what stands will fall, and all what is gathered will be separated. All what is accumulated will be exhausted, and all what is born will die. This is what the Buddha taught. And this is reality. It's not for us to, it's very negative, it's denial. No, these are realities. Whether you accept it or not, these are things that will hit us. So wise people will think about these, and when you're actually struck with these problems, you will not be shocked. Your mind can continue your journey from the miseries to the happiness, from the darkness to the light, and to the fear to the fearlessness. So this journey we can continue, provided that we are prepared. So start with reflect on the gross impermanence. And then also think about not only those who left the world, also think about, people who you feel so close to in this life, today, right? One day we never know. He or she will one day say that, oh, my dear friend, this person, we were together, we learned from each other so much, and now she left, he left. Or maybe the other person will talk about you, that he left, she left, right? So these things, you think about this, what happened, what will potentially happen. You also think about these now, from now on. And then your mind will be very grounded and stable, that when you actually hit with these problems, you'll not be shocked. And then you see that what the Buddha taught is really, really very, very real and very efficacious. So now my path has become very clear, that this is the path. Otherwise, what we see as so important, they're actually so trivial. Anytime they can leave us, and then you are left with nothing. Whereas what the Buddha taught, that what we see as so important, they're insignificant. They can leave you anytime. You'll be in shock. So think in advance, all composite things impermanent, the gross impermanence. Then having reflected on the gross impermanence, then your mind will become more realistic. You will not be in the bubble of the fancy, the perceptions. Say for example, in the marketing, in the television, or nowadays in the mobile, everywhere. In the marketing, for example, and the marketing, let's say what? The detergent, let's say a detergent. Right? Detergent. What did you see? Have you ever seen an advertisement of a detergent which said that you soak this dirty cloth in the detergent and it'll remove like 60% of the stains and 40% still left? No, you dip in the detergent, very dirty one, and you take it out, it becomes brand new, not clean, brand new, right? So this is advertisement. This is known as being in the bubble of fantasies. And wow, this must be very powerful detergent. And then you see that in the shop, you buy it. This is marketing. So we are being deceived by the marketing. And marketing happens not only with the detergent, right? Not only with the detergent, with everything. With everything, right? You're going to Dharma, you're too young, right? You come to, oh, I signed up for, you signed up for what? I signed up for Wisdom of Emptiness. What is emptiness? What is that? Is that like a club? Oh, it's not a club. What is that? It's a retreat. What is retreat? The Dharma retreat. It's very boring. You are so young for Dharma. You can do Dharma later. If you're interested, you can do it. Not now. Later, later you can do it. Anytime you can do it. You're young. You're wasting. You have not seen the world. Just feel the world first, right? Feel the world first, and then you can go to Dharma later. Later, when your intelligence all go down, right? Dharma, which was emptiness, which requires a lot of intelligence, right? So this is how people persuade. Whereas, if you know all composite things are impermanent, you know the reality of impermanence. Even this person who is actually dissuading me from following Dharma, following the retreat and so forth, even this person will one day disappear, leave this world. Will leave this world with nothing at hand, 100%. So this is what happened. So I should not be deceived by these, advertisements of samsara. I should be careful, I should be wise, I should be watchful of, I should not be swayed by these fantasies. These are not the real. Fantasies and realities are very different. Okay, so once you have become very stable, then go deeper. All composite things is impermanent. Let's say that 10 years ago, okay, just 2 days ago, I went, no, was it 2 days ago? Yesterday. Yesterday, we were at the intensive school, and for me, some of the staff, they were my classmates, who I was meeting after like 30 years, some of them 40 years. They were also school children when I was there in school. And I had a very good picture of what they looked like 40 years ago, 20 years ago. You know, nice boy, nice girls. There are no more nice boys, girls. And they must have seen me the same, you know? Yeah. So this is the impermanence. Okay, so this okay. Something happened to my foot. Okay, this gross impermanence that we visibly seen, let's say that 10 years ago we meet, and then let's say that we plant a tree in memory of our retreat. 10 years later, we see that there's some 10 feet tall tree, 10 feet tall tree. And you then tell Anisamala that there was no tree when we were last 10 years, when we were last here 10 years ago. There was no tree there. There's a big tree there. In fact, you planted, your group planted. What is it, the retreat? Or the emptiness, Wisdom of Emptiness retreat. You planted this. I see. Yes, I remember that. So, which means that in 10 years' time, there was this non-existent tree came into existent tree. Impermanence. Visible impermanence, gross impermanence. And how did it happen? Right? Some of us, we wait for the deadlines, right? We don't work till that point. And then the deadline comes, then you burn the, what do you call it, midnight lamp. Midnight oil, right? You burn the midnight oil the last 2-3 days, which otherwise you should be doing the last 1 month, and you're doing it. So is it like this poor seed that we planted, it is waiting for burning the midnight oil, right? And sleeping. Oh, tomorrow completes my 10-year. I should grow 10 feet. Pop. Is it like this? No. Every year, 1 foot. 1 foot. The next year, 1 foot. 1 foot. 1 foot. And then in 10 years, 10 feet tall tree. This is how it worked. Not like, you sleep and suddenly, oh, tomorrow completes 10 years, so I have to grow 10 feet overnight. No. So the first year, how tall the tree was? 1 foot. Again, for 11 months and 29 days, it was sleeping, and said, oh, tomorrow completes one my year. And then very hard working, and then go like 1 foot? No. Every month, 1 inch. Every month, it was growing 1 inch. That's how it works. So the change that you see over the span of 10 years is possible only with the change that you see, change that happens with the stretch of the every year. And the change that you see in the year is possible only the change that you see happening in the month, week, days, then hour, minute, second, millisecond, nanosecond. Only through these changes that you can see the visible changes. How many agree with me, raise hands? Good. So, in a way, what we are saying is that underscoring all these visible changes is the very subtle change on the nanosecond level. This is how the changes happen, but we don't see this. We see them as so static. This is the deception. This is the optical delusion of our mind. That we see things as so static. Look at these pillars. We don't see the pillars vibrating. They're so static, not changing. This is our optical delusion. Actually, they are moving so fast. So, if we're able to reflect on this, this is known as the subtle impermanence. This is known as subtle impermanence. Our body moves so fast, changes so fast. And even this building changes so fast. So remember what Milarepa said, even this house, this building, when the building was here, the owner was gone. When the owner came, the building is debilitated. Huh? Dilapidated. Even if the two were to be together, no meaning, the purpose can be extracted out of this. Better it is for me to live for my personal practice, Dhamma practice. Practice for the good of the eternal good. So remember these things. Now, I say we talk about sitting for retreats, personal retreats. And oftentimes, when talk about the personal retreats, people think about some, the deities, the mantras, and so forth. We can sit for retreat on the impermanence meditation, impermanence. Say, if you can take out like 1 week, 10 days, take out 1 week, 10 days, just to meditate on the impermanence. First, starting with the gross impermanence, then the subtle impermanence. From the gross impermanence, deduce the subtle impermanence. The change that I see is that over the span of 10 years is possible, only if there's a change happening over the span of, let's say, the year by year, week, month by month, week by week, day by day, day by day, hour by hour, and so forth, and then become subtler. In other words, all the changes that you see around is possible, only if they are the subtle impermanence. Then you want to, through very systematic, contemplative, or cognitive, say the cognitive reflection of the impermanence, grosser to the subtler, to subtler, to subtle, then and then not just throughout the conclusion, but experientially go step by step. Don't rush. Yes, everything is all-encompassing phenomena. They involve subtle impermanence. Don't go into the rash conclusion, but go step by step reflection. And then it's a cumulative effect that after a while, for some people, after 1 week, for others, it can be like 1 month. We never know when, depending on what kind of familiarization, what kind of the mental proclivities that you have built from your past lives. We never know. For some people, within 1 week's time, you can feel this experience, that all the complex phenomena includes building yourself, your body, your friends, people around you. They are all like vibrations. So fast, you can see that. It's not what your eyes are seeing, but your mental consciousness, which is so trained to cognitively to make things subtler, deduce from the grosser impermanence to the subtle impermanence, still subtle impermanence. And then over time, and that too, you have to create a very conducive factor in a retreat where you don't meet with people so much, cut off from social media, and then you do meditation, the contemplative meditation with other conducive factors intact. Then over time, within a week, 2 weeks, for some people it can be like within a week you can have this experience that wherever you look at all the composite phenomena, they're like vibrating. And then the sense of the purpose of your life is deviated from the trivialities to a Dharma practice. This is how the meditation on impermanence can be extremely, extremely powerful Dharma practice. Okay. Then with this, we see that what we come to at this point is the subtle impermanence. With the subtle impermanence, we come to know that your body, your house, the food that you eat, the clothes that you wear, people around you, they're all moving so fast. Moving so fast means that the first moment changes to the second moment changes to the third moment. How many agree with me, raise hands? This meaning of moving so fast. Okay, so when that happens, what determines the second moment? That is determined by the first moment, yes? What determines the third moment? Determined by the second moment. Second moment determined by the first moment. This is known as the cause and effect. So the first link, the first seal, all composite things impermanent, this will take us to the understanding of law of karma, cause and effect. Karma meaning action. Action and its effect, cause and effect. Okay. So let's say that you're thrown in. How many have seen very fast moving train? Resents? Okay. Not only you have seen that, sometimes when you're actually in the train, because that it moves so fast, sometimes for no reason or because of this fastness, you feel a little bit of some form of fear sometimes. It moves so fast. How many got this experience, your sense? Okay. And for some people, when you see that the train is moving so fast, some people naturally they will link. Naturally it happens that this fast moving train links their mind to the fast moving life. If that happens very naturally, it means you have a great connection with Dhamma practice in your former lives. If these things happen. Otherwise, if it doesn't happen, don't worry. The next life, right? Next life, right? You make sure that, oh, it's happening to me now. This you did because you practiced this from something retreat, emptiness. Last life. You're getting it? You have to set it from this life. Or if it does happen in this life, you are very fortunate in the sense that you have put effort in this practice from past life. So linking, automatically it links. This is my life. Look, the train is moving so fast. My life is moving so fast. Yeah, it automatically connects. So the masters, Buddhist masters, they always advise how to link your day-to-day experiences with the Dhamma practice. For example, let's say that when you open the door, you just link it with opening the door of the Buddhahood, opening the door of the freedom from liberation, door to liberation, door to Buddhahood. When you close the door, you're closing the door of samsara. Now all the beings already have left the samsara towards nirvana Buddhahood. Now the samsara is closed. There's nobody going to samsara anymore. And say, when you see, let's say with the cars, if you see the N number 3 jewels, triple gem. So likewise, let's say that the say number 37 harmonious path to enlightenment. So just connect yourself with anything that you see, connect with the Dharma. For example, number 13 is considered as very inauspicious number in some places. Say in the buildings, the floors, 13 is missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. 13 is missing. And even the lifts, the number 13 is missing because that's considered very inauspicious. Which means that you are scared of the inauspicious number. Why don't you make everything connected with Dharma? 13 deities of Shri Guya Samaja. Right? Rather than being scared, see this number is so auspicious. So you see that everything that you encounter with, they are so auspicious. So you are infinitely auspicious. There's infinite auspiciousness surrounding you. This is the meaning of the Dhamma practice. Okay. So with this, what I said is that the all composite things impermanent means the gross impermanence, suddenly from the gross you go down to the subtle ones. From the subtle we see the momentariness. First moment change into second, to the third, to the fourth, fifth. And the fifth one is determined by the fourth. Fourth moment is determined by the third one. So this that you are determined by the previous moments are known as the previous moments affecting, previous moments serving as a causes to determine you as the result, cause and effect, cause and result. So that here comes the cause and effect concept, the law of karma. So with this, what is the second seal? All contaminated things are of suffering nature. Okay, now we see that what the result is determined by the causes. So if the cause is contaminated, for example, let's say that they say that you are on the train platform, and some unknown person picks you up and throws you into a very fast-moving train. What do you feel?
Yeah.
Okay, those people who are new to the retreat, tell me, what do you feel? Huh? If somebody throws you into a very fast-moving train, what do you feel? Wow, I'm so lucky now, I don't have to pay for the train. Or, what do you feel? Fear. What intensity? Intense fear. Faster the train moves, more the fear. Why? Where is this train taking me? Where is this train taking me? Taking me where? Taking me to where? This question. So, who decides where this train takes you? Who decides? Hey, tell me. The girl there? Who decides? Train decides. Anyone? Anyone? Who decides? Huh?
The driver.
Train driver decides, as simple as that, right? Don't think that he must be waiting for some very complicated answers, right? If I say train driver, he may laugh at me. No, keep simple things simple, right? This is very simple. Who decides that where the train is taking you? Is decided by the train driver. And if the train driver's mother, you're so happy. It'll take you to a picnic spot. If the train driver is a terrorist, or if the train driver is under the dictate of the terrorist, it'll take you to a slaughterhouse. So, the train of a life, who decides? Who's the driver? Our mind is the driver. You getting it? And you must Google search, what is that? Train of your life. Train of your life. You must Google search that, train of your life. I don't know who made it. Is extremely brilliant person. He portrayed the whole life in the form of say the passengers in the train. So beautiful. Just read it, and it could give us all composite things impermanent. They're so well reflected in this the train journey of life. So what he said was that, okay, you just tell me whether you agree with me that you wait for the train. Say that it is a train which keeps moving around. And then you wait for the train. You get on the train. When you get on the train, there are already some passengers. Yes, no? There are already some passengers. Okay. Then for them you are new. For you they are old. And in most cases, or let's say, generally speaking, and those people who are already on the train, they are familiar with the train, so they will accommodate you, they will be kind to you, nice to you, right? They will share their food with you, and what is typically required for the train, which they don't require, they will leave with you. And then at one point, the passengers who are before you, they will leave. Right? You agree? Good. And then, after a while, new passengers will join you. Yes? Now you help them. Meanwhile, there are other compartments also, not only your compartment, there are other compartments. The same thing is happening there. But people join, leave without your conscious awareness. You agree? Okay. So who are those passengers in the same compartment which you entered, who already existed? They are your parents. Your parents. You go there, you come to the planet Earth, and your parents are already there, right? And they help you, support, and one day they say bye-bye, they leave the train. And then you become parents, and your children come. And again one day you say bye-bye, and then you leave. And then some passengers are not too close, a little far away, their uncles, aunties, and so forth. Right? And they leave, some come, they leave, come, leave. Cousins, aunties, uncles, and so forth. And in the other compartments, leave, you're totally unaware. There are other people in the other states of the country, other countries of the world, right? This is the train of the life. This is what happens. So when you think of it, it makes you feel just instantly, you could feel the whole life there in this portrait by this train journey. It's very true. It's very true. And when you read it very carefully, just take your time, read it, and then see how, and the train, it also depicted the train actually moving tick, 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 like this. And then these descriptions come along, you read it, you could feel it, you could feel the whole life portrayed within 2 minutes. You could feel that. And it makes you feel so nostalgic of the whole life, your parents, and so forth. Very powerful. You must watch it. Okay. So what we said is that this train of life is determined by the way this train will take you is determined by the driver. If the driver is a mother, father, they will take you to a picnic spot. But if the train driver is either the terrorist or under the sway, dictate of the terrorist, they will only take you to miseries. And the train of your life, who is the driver, our mind. Unfortunately, this driver is under the dictate of the two worst terrorists. Self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. So these two, say the terrorists, these two demons, they dictate this mind. So now this train is moving so fast, and these two demons will make you to move from where you are to miseries. And these two demons, these two demons, particularly self-grasping ignorance, is the self-grasping ignorance. It is the worst of the contaminations. Worst of the contamination, self-grasping ignorance. So when your mind is contaminated, particularly by the self-grasping ignorance, it will take you only to the miseries. So the second seal is, all contaminated things are suffering nature of suffering. You getting it? Okay. So this connects us to from the first seal to this second seal. All contaminated things are suffering nature. And the mantra which we read, E Dharma Hetu Prabhava. All these phenomena arise from their causes. Now look, they're all linked to each other. So if you know that Dhamma well, we see that you will learn, you will know how all these teachings are connected to each other. It becomes a very beautiful one jigsaw puzzle set properly. Okay. Okay, so which means that as long as I'm under the sway of these contaminations, what is contamination? Contaminated and contamination. Contamination refers to afflictions. Contamination refers to afflictions. What is affliction? Affliction is the mental factor, the presence of which disturbs your mind. Let me repeat it. Contamination refers to afflictions. What is affliction? Affliction is a mental factor, the presence of which disturbs your mind. Affliction is the mental factor, the presence of which disturbs your mind. And the worst of which is self-grasping ignorance. What is self-grasping ignorance? This is what we have to learn for the next few days. Okay, so what is contaminated? So contamination is affliction, and what is influenced by the contamination themselves, or what is influenced by the contamination is known as contaminated. What is influenced? For example, our mind is influenced by the contamination, so our mind is contaminated. So what is contaminated will only take us to the miseries. The driver influenced by the demons, they will only take us to the miseries. What kind of miseries? All the miseries which we experience in our life. Miseries of a life. Any miseries. Okay, anyone who would like to share what kind of miseries? In your life or in somebody else's life that you have seen, in your family, in your friends, with yourself or anything. Just quick. War, yes, this is extremely, very painful, man-made, the miseries. Anyone else? Poverty. Yes, this is an acute problem. Anyone else? Addiction. This is again another, wow. This is so painful, so painful. One day, many years ago, I received a call from one gentleman. I knew him so well, he passed away. And he was not really, he's a very reserved person. He's not really into spirituality, but his sister is into spirituality. And because of the sister, he somehow, let's say, being really connected with me, but he's not so interested. Just to make his sister happy, he would just, otherwise he would not call me. One day he called me up, phone call, and he said, Geshe, you have to help me. I said, what help do you need? Then he said that the same problem. He was into alcohol addiction. It's the same problem, he said. It's the same problem. So now it's just 6 a.m. I already just got, drained into this. I was just drowned into this, the drinking problem. Again, you must help me to just elevate me out of this problem. Take me out of this problem. So he knows that there's a problem. He knew that there's a problem. Addiction is severe. This is like a very vicious cycle. Extremely vicious cycle. Any more sufferings?
Unhealthy competition.
Unhealthy competition. Unhealthy competition. Yes, of course. Unhealthy competition is again very painful. And very painful. Any more? Sickness, yes. This is again another very serious problem.
Seeing the suffering of others.
The pain that we feel through seeing somebody else's problems, sufferings. Anyone else? Attachment. Yes, attachment is a kind of the addiction. It's a mental addiction. And so we are all expert in this. We're all expert. The fact that we're in samsara means somebody is attaching us to samsara. What is that? There's no somebody else forcing us to be attached. You're getting it? So this attachment, this is again a vicious cycle. Anything else?
Depression, anxiety.
Depression, anxiety, they are the severe problems.
You should have miseries of taking such a long time to finish the studies.
Miseries of taking such a long time to?
Finish studies. PhD.
Okay. Misery of having to wait for so long to complete PhD. There's also suffering, that's true. Okay, that's true. That's true. Okay, that's true. Anything else?
Weakening of the body. Weakening of the body.
Weakening of the body, that the body keeps becoming more and more fragile, keeps becoming more and more vulnerable. That's true. This is how come that this came to you? It should come to people like us. It's too. So this, if I tell you, this is not a problem for me. This is not a problem. Otherwise, you're talking about dharma. You're too young. I'll not say this. When you talk about this, weakening of the body, right? I was saying, you're too young to speak of this. In fact, my teacher, once I had to run to his place from my monastery to his place because at the time with the appointment for his students recitation from him, me as the translator, was set at 8 o'clock, and I had to rush there, so short time. Rush there, and by the time I reached there, I was literally sweating and breathing very heavily. And then his students were there waiting, and Germaji was there, and Germaji said, just very spontaneous. He was reflecting on all these four seals. He said that, look, our body is so fragile. Just look at me, sweating, breathing very heavily, So it's all the reaction of the body. He said that our body is so fragile. And suddenly, because I was just 21 or 22, and suddenly my teacher said that, but he will not understand it now. He will not understand now because he's just 20s. He will not understand it. And the students who were receiving from him, foreign students, they must be one was I think 50s, others were in their 30s, I think 30s, or one in 40s. Gerber said that, okay, I will know, you know, but this boy, he will not understand it now. He's just too young. His body is so, strong at this age. So therefore, you are just 22, right? Okay, but it may be that you are reflecting on this. You are, observing what I will become when I'm the age of this person, that person, so forth, and look at this person, So where the body is so haggard, into pain, so forth. One day I'll also become one like this. Is a weakening of the body happening. So, yes, these reflections are so important. Very good. So, all contaminated things are suffering nature. And suffering nature, the suffering, is of three kinds. Suffering that you talked about is all about the three. By the way, what are the three kinds of suffering? Suffering. Yes. Suffering change. Pervasive condition suffering. Okay. Three kinds of suffering. Suffering change, and the pervasive condition suffering. And of course, I'm not going to go into detail during the group discussions, particularly those who are new to this concept. You must not hesitate to bring this up in the group discussions. And the seniors, I request you to help the newcomers. The three kinds of suffering. And the seniors, you should be successful in. I will later on. I will check from the newcomers what answer did you get of these sufferings, and this will reflect the understanding of the seniors. Okay, so make sure that you give a sensible answer to the seniors. Okay. This morning, yesterday, we discussed about the two goals and the two potentials and the two defilements and then the two remedies. You getting it? So the two defilements, What are the two defilements or two obscurations? What are they? Afflictive obscurations and the cognitive obscurations. Good. The next question is, what constitutes the afflictive obscurations? Afflictive obscurations, broadly speaking, two: contaminated karmas and afflictions. Afflictive obscurations, broadly speaking, two: contaminated karmas and afflictions. Okay, and if you want to go more detail, then contaminated karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, then what? Self-grasping ignorance. Let me repeat it. If somebody would ask you what constitutes the afflictive obscurations, contaminated karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and self-grasping ignorance. Okay, and this is well presented by Aranigarjuna in his text Mula Madhyamika Karika, the fundamental wisdom of the middle way, where I expect all of you to remember this verse, learn this verse by heart. The verse is, the ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from the conceptualization of inappropriate attention, and which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and the elaboration ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, is there anybody who can help me to track it from this book? It is studied in this book minimum 3 or 4 times. Anybody who can help me to identify where, on which page you can find it? Yes, the girl there. 330. Yes, in 330 it is there. And any other sources, any other pages? It is cited several times. Anyone? So one, what's your name, the girl there? Your name? Diskit. So Diskit identified it on page 330. Anyone else? It is cited on several. It's cited on several pages. Anyone? 216. 216. Yes, 216. That's correct. Anyone else? Anyone else? 116. Okay, so we found it's cited at least on 3 pages. One, what page? 330. Nicola? 216. 216. And the Dr. Nizala? 116, 116. Okay, so of these three, 116 is the original source. 116 is the original source. From this, then it is used, cited in the other texts also. Okay, so let me see the 116, page 5. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions. Okay, this seems like this. Nicola, is the new book or the old one? New book. Okay, this requires to be edited. Some, I don't know how it is still left unedited. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions, instead of leads to, change it to, is nirvana. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana, rather than leads to nirvana. Okay, is there anybody who can help me to later on contribute to the editing? Sorry? Yes. So what I'm saying is that somebody should inform us that these are to be edited in the next edition. So, Pierre, you're going to, Pierre, Tenzin Chenella, you're going to do that. Okay, so make sure, please note them down if possible. On one page, you put all these to be edited, and you can give it to Tibet House, and then they will include this. Okay, ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thought. These arise from mental elaborations, grasping of true existence. Elaboration ceases by or into emptiness. I'm going to quickly explain this. What we find here is that we can find 5 points here, the 5 points. So what are the 5 points? Number 1, ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. What is the opposite of nirvana? Samsara. So number 1 is samsara. And this samsara is because of the contaminated karmas, ceasing of karmas and afflictions. Karma here is the contaminated karmas. And what triggers contaminated karmas? Afflictions. Which means what causes the contaminated karmas? Afflictions. What causes the afflictions? It says karmas and afflictions arise from conceptualization. So this conceptualization is conceptualization of the inappropriate attention. So number 3, first one is miseries. Number 2 is contaminated karmas. Number 3 is affliction. Number 4 is conceptualization of inappropriate attention. So what triggers the inappropriate attention? That is the elaboration, which says that which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Which in turn arises, meaning that inappropriate attention is given rise to by the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. So these are the 5 points that we need to have on our fingertips. You will have them on our fingertips, these 5 points. Suffering or samsara, then contaminated karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, self-grasping ignorance. We need to have these 5 points on the fingertips. You getting it? Okay. So we need to know what they are. For this, I'd like to give just one example, a metaphor. And the metaphor, yes. Okay, let's say that this is, some of you heard this so many times, and the newcomers for you, think of this. Let's say that, okay, to make it quick, let's say that we are dreaming. We're dreaming. By the way, tell me, how many of you in your life you dreamt of attending classes? And that today you didn't want to attend the class, still you are there in the class. Or you are so excited to have the class, right? So just imagine that you are dreaming. You are dreaming of attending class into something. You are attending a class on emptiness as a part of the Wisdom of Emptiness retreat. And actually you are in your respective places. In America, in Mauritius, or wherever in the world. And you dreamt of being into something and taking class on emptiness. And then what I did is that you dream of me showing you this. What is this? Mobile or dream mobile? I said you're dreaming. In the dream that I picked up this. What is this? Dream mobile. You agree? Hey. Yes, no? Okay. But you don't see this as dream mobile in the dream. You see this as real mobile. And you looked at it so well. And you see this as brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. Okay, let me repeat it. Okay. Okay, I pick this up and you see there's a mobile, number one. Actually, this is a dream mobile. You see dream mobile as a real mobile, number one. Number two, you look at it very clearly, very closely, and you see that as brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. Number two. Then what happens? Oh, that's interesting. Geshe is not interested in iPhone 14 Pro Max, right? Geshe, can we have our mobile phones exchanged? And your neighbor said, no, I said it before. Before he entered, I saw this, and I told him, and he agreed. And then two of you have a fist fight. With the fist fight, the police comes. And two of you end up into jail behind bars. Jail is not a good place. Jail is miserable. Miserable means samsara. So you end up in samsara. Point number one, samsara, jail. And your poor mother was waiting for you, right, for your evening calls. Or say let's say that your poor mother calls you up, and then no response. Then calls up to something. So what happened to my daughter? What happened to my son? I'm expecting call. I said that we learned that your son and your daughter, they are behind bars. And the mother is so hurriedly go to the jail, right? Ask, what happened? You went for emptiness retreat. Right. Okay. Why you end up in prison? Why? Why? Tell me. Why you end up in prison? Why? Huh? Because of your attachment to the mobile? Simply because I'm attached to the mobile, the police will not arrest you. If you don't believe, go into the shopping malls. And where all these hundreds, thousands of the old mobiles are there, you feel attached to them. No police will arrest you. Why you end up in prison and why the police arrested you? Only because of the fight. Till you fight, verbal abuse, fight, mentally, even if you become so angry, you destroy the whole world, no police will arrest you. Right? You feel attached to the mobile, everything. Just imagine, I own this shopping mall. Still the police will not arrest you. Only when you fight, then the police will arrest you. So your prison was because of your fight. Fight is the action. Action is the karma. Now why did you fight? You didn't go to fight. You just go to study. You go to stop the fight. To study emptiness and you stop the fight. Why did you fight? Hey, why did you fight? What made you to fight? Attachment to the mobile and aversion to the competitor. Attachment and aversion. You're getting it? Attachment, aversion, these two are the afflictions. Karma because of the afflictions. And why are you attached to the mobile? Why are you angry towards this person? Because we are fighting over the same mobile. This mobile is this mobile. And why you already have a mobile? Why are you attached to this? No. This mobile is very special. This mobile is very special. Inappropriate attention. This mobile is very special. It's not just the mobile which mommy gave me, 2,000 rupees mobile. This is like 1 lakh rupees mobile, right? iPhone 14 Pro Max. Okay, inappropriate attention. Is this mobile in the first place? In the first place, not even a mobile. This is dream mobile. Dream mobile is not a mobile. So first you exaggerate the dream mobile as the real mobile. Then you exaggerate the quality of this mobile as iPhone Pro Max. Then you feel attached to and aversion to your competitor. Then you have fist fight. You end up in jail. You getting it? Okay, now let us do it again. Say why you end up in prison. Hey, quick, to save time. Because of the fist fight. That is karma. Why do you have the fist fight? Because of the affliction. What affliction? Attachment to mobile and aversion to the competitor. Affliction. Why did you have the affliction of attachment to the mobile? Because this is so good. So good, you exaggerate the quality of the object. That is known as inappropriate attention, number 4. And how come that this inappropriate attention comes? Because of the belief that the dream mobile is a real mobile. You getting it? Okay. Now, how do you relate this to a real life? Real life is that, let's say that say you feel so loving, caring towards your parents, towards your children, towards your husband, towards your wife, towards your mobile, towards your house, towards your whatever, towards the flower. You feel so, attached, close. So there, say the object to which you feel attached to, this object, number one, it is seen as so real, not as a dream, never as projection mind. You see them as so real, number one. Then you see that, oh, this is so good. You exaggerate the quality, number two. First you misconceive the object. Then you misconceive the quality of the object. First you misconceive the object. Then you misconceive the quality of the object. So misconceiving the object as real, as object real, that is self-grasping ignorance. Let me repeat it. Misconceiving the object as object real, that is self-grasping ignorance. Then misconceiving the quality of the object, that this object is so good, this object is so bad. Misconceiving the quality of the object is inappropriate attention. Then once you misconceive the qualities of the object as so good, so bad, so good, attachment arises. So bad, aversion arises. So these are the afflictions. These afflictions then make you to move. Movement is action. These afflictions make you to move. Physical fight is where you use your muscles. Physical movement. This movement is directed by your thought process. There's emotion, affliction. So this affliction makes your body, space and mind to move into action. So that body, space and mind action, driven by the afflictions, is known as contaminated karmas. With the contaminated karmas, then you end up in prison. Prison is samsara. You getting it? Okay. If you don't want to end up in prison, what should you have done? You should have not fight. You should have stopped fighting. If you did not want to fight, what should you have done? Be very direct. So there are two ways of eating food, right? Eating food like this, or eating food like this, right? So eat food directly. Your name? Sonamla. Sonam's eating food like this, Be happy with your mobile. Yeah, I'm happy with my mobile. I want extra mobile. What's wrong? Okay, be very direct. If you don't want to have this, as they say, the what?
Prison.
The prison, you should not have fought. If you do not want to find what you should have done, you should not have attachment to this particular iPhone 14 Pro Max and aversion to your competitor. If you don't want to have this, like the say competition or the anger towards the competitor and attached to the mobile, what should you do? Should not exaggerate the quality of the object, which is you should stop the inappropriate attention. If you don't want to have the inappropriate attention, what should you do?
Should not see this real.
You should not see the dream mobile as real mobile. How many of you understood till this point? Raise hands. Good. Next question. If you don't want to see the dream mobile as real mobile, what should you do? Okay, newcomers. Because there are so many experts here. Hey, newcomers, the girls there. If you don't want to see the real mobile, dream mobile as a real mobile, what should you do?
You should wake up and realize it's a dream.
Wake up. Right? Wake up. Okay. Those newcomers, you agree with your name again? Jimela. You all agree with Jimela? Yes, wake up. Okay. It's for this reason that the Buddha is revered as the fully awakened one. You getting it? Waking up, this is so precious. So, waking up, there are two ways of waking up. Partial waking up and full awakening. Right? What is partial waking up? Partial waking up is personal nirvana. Partial waking up is personal nirvana. Full waking up is Buddhahood. You getting it? Good. Okay. Okay. So we'll stop here now. Yeah. And the Venerable Tensila, did you make the announcement about the Tibetan classes? You already made the announcement. Good. Okay. I will stop here with the quick dedication prayer. Page 52.
Tomorrow morning, our first session is 5:45.
No. So what I said yesterday is that this retreat is going to be a little flexible in terms of the timetable. So tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow we will do from 7 to 8 in the morning. 7 to 8, morning prayer. Morning prayer and taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, which is so precious. And then the next few, in case if it's not really something solid, there's something very effective, then we may start from 6:30. So tomorrow let's do it at 7 to 8, and let's see. Okay. Okay, page 52. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization that is in the prayers of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of scripture and insight. May in all lives through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, purview in the two stages. From our two collections, vast space that I have amassed from working with these. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom is blinded by ignorance. Teyato Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata